cook book, so food to cook. Spin around the block everywhere you go. See now the air, we not just a radio. 96.9, 96.9. Oh, oxygen. 96.9, 96.9. Oh, oxygen. 96.9, 96.9. Oh, oxygen. 96.9, 96.9. Oh.
Oxygen FM 96.9. Inform, inspire, ignite.
Good morning, listeners at home. Good morning, beloved parents. Good morning, our teachers at home. Good morning, lovers of knowledge around the globe. You're welcome once again to another exciting edition of School on Air Physics on Oxygen FM 96.9, the station that informs, that inspires, and the station that ignites. I'm your delighted host once again, Kenny BADMUS. I welcome you all for the interest you have in our station. Yeah, our lesson for today, School on Air Physics. Our focus on our lesson today is an interesting topic. It's an extension to the last topic, which at the last meeting last week we discussed. We treated motion, significantly, and today we're going to move or extend our tentacle to work, energy, and power. We're going to extend our tentacle to work, energy, and power, and how they affect our lives as individually and collectively. Before we begin, I want to say a big thank you to the station manager, my studio engineer, and above all, the management of Oxygen FM 96.9, situated 121-123 Obafemi Willow Way, Okeado Ibadan, for making every program delightable, deliverable, and interesting to all and sundry. Now let us begin. Work, energy, and power. Now I want to say that we start with the word work. Everybody knows that work before you work before you eat. That's the primary thing, the common thing that we do here at home and at work. So believing that whoever does not work is not expected to eat. I don't know how best to quote it from the Bible, but I know the Bible says that whoever does not work is not expected to eat. However, in physics, the term work is the transfer of energy. The term work is the transfer of energy by a force. The term work is the transfer of energy by a force acting on the objects over a distance. The term work is the transfer of energy by a force acting on an object over a distance. Before I continue, I want to bring us closer to life around us by giving you my wisdom capsule today, which is about energy and power. It's an adaptation from the word of Isaac Asimov, which was quoted around 1988. And it says the energy is a fundamental capacity to do work. That energy is the fundamental power capacity to do work, while power measures the rate at which work is done, or the rate at which work is accomplished. So invariably, or by extension, we want to say that success in life depends not only on how much energy you possess. Success in life does not depend only on how much energy you possess, but also on how wisely and efficiently you use it. That's credited or adapted to Isaac Asimov sayings in 1988. The energy is the fundamental capacity to do work, while power measures the rate at which work is done or work is accomplished. So, by extension to life, success is not only measured or depend on how much energy we have, but also on how wisely and efficiently we use it. A reflection on this as an adaptation from the words of Isaac Asimov, that energy is the fundamental capacity to do work, while power is the measure of the rate at which work is done or accomplished. A reflection on this clearly shows that every individual has energy in him, be it physical energy. Oftentimes you see people around doing their businesses. All these are physical energy accompanied with mental energy and emotional energy. If you have physical energy that's short of mental and emotional and intellectual energy, it's definitely zero. That kind of a person cannot function because it wouldn't have definite direction. It will be directed by he or she behaves like a robot. So that's why you see mad people around not doing anything significant. They may be physically, structured by look, but the mental capacity or energy lacks. The emotional capacity is lacking. The intellectual capacity is lacking. However, those who manage their time, talents, and opportunities efficiently really demonstrate true power. That's to say, individually, we must be able to reflect on this. God has given us the capacity, the physical energy, the mental, emotional, intellectual energy embedded together. However, it now depends on how best we manage our time, talents, opportunities efficiently, that demonstrate how truly powerful we are. Now, in continuation, like I said, that work is the transfer of energy by a force acting on an object over a distance, while energy is the capacity to do work. Energy is the capacity to do work, while power is the rate at which work is done. I'll say that again, that work is the transfer of energy by a force acting on an object over a distance. So if you see somebody walking at a distance, definitely he goes and comes over a distance on a particular object, definitely is doing work. But if it's stationary, I'm afraid, unless there is a distance attached to what he does, he's definitely doing zero work. So energy is the capacity to do work. Energy is the capacity to do work, while power is the rate at which work is done. Power is the rate at which work is done. So listeners at home mostly our beloved listeners, mostly students, I want you to pick your pen and paper. This is a pen and paper and intellectual work. So jot your ideas as much as possible so that when it is time for you to participate through a calling program, through a calling call lines, so definitely you have something to say. And even for your educational interest, it's important for you to jot something down. So work is done by a force that causes an object to move. It is calculated by a force and the displacement in the direction of the force. You now see the peculiarity that when work is done by a force that causes an object to move, it is calculated by a force and displacement in the direction of the force. So force is not calculated by ordinary distance. It is the displacement in the direction of the force. It is a displacement in the direction of the force. That's invariably that if the force goes at an angle, there is a need for what we call resolution. You have to resolve to get it to a parallel line or horizontal line. That's why we come about the sine theta, the cos theta variables that are attached to displacement. To distance, bringing us to our desired results. So the formula for work is FD, that is force times distance. Force times distance or displacement in the direction of the force. So if it's in the direction of the force, it is expected that resolution must be done, whereby you now say work done is force times distance at an angle, which is preferably cos theta, because it has to be at a parallel line to the force. It has to be at a parallel line to the force. So we have force. F is the force, D is the displacement, and theta is the angle. So it will be FD cos theta. So work done is FD cos theta, where the F represents the force, D represents the displacement, and theta is the angle between the force vector and the direction of the movements. So work done is W equals FD cos theta, which is F for force, D for displacement, theta cos theta, whereby the theta is the angle between the force vector and the direction of the movement. So the SI unit is in joules. The SI unit is in joules. The SI unit is in joules or Newton meter. The SI unit is in joules or Newton meter. If the force and the displacement are in the same direction, work is positive. So let's note that if force and displacement are in the same direction, the work is positive. But if it is otherwise, if they oppose each other like friction, so work is negative. So if they oppose each other, the force is negative. So if the force is applied perpendicular to the motion, so like centripetal force, so if it is applied perpendicular to the motion, there is zero work done. There is zero work done when force is applied at a perpendicular direction to the motion. Now, I want to bring my teachings closer home. I don't want it to be boring by being too theoretical with these formulas and resolutions and theta, whatever theta. But we are going to that when next we come onto the program. When it comes to calculation, that's where we know we are in calculation. But now we want to bring us around to know what are those things around us that generate energy. How work is, can be seen or measured, and power in addition. So from this, let's look around us. So what are those things that make your fan rotate when you are home? Just look around you. What makes your fan rotate? What enables our cars to move? And how does our mobile phone works? Why can you climb the staircase but becomes tired afterwards? So something is being done here that you are walking on a staircase and you are getting tired afterwards. That is the energy expended is that all required at an inclination is much higher than on a straight line or parallel ground. So the answer to all this is that when we define energy, like we did, that energy is the capacity to do work, and power is the rate at which this work is done. Now, energy, to make it simpler, bring it around for us to understand better, that the word energy is simply the ability or the capacity to do work. So without that energy, nothing moves, nothing grows, nothing functions, nothing survives. Individually, we cannot survive with energy. You see, weak people cannot pick up anything. You see, distressed people, it's because they lack energy by one way or the other, chemically and all associated. They lack energy. They lack nutrition. That nutrition is a value of energy. It's a function of energy, rather. So, without energy, nothing moves, nothing grows, nothing functions, nothing survives. Every movement you make requires energy. When you walk, you use energy. When you write your notes, you use energy. Even while sleeping, your body still uses energy to breathe. The blood circulation and digestion is done while sleeping. Mostly the digestion of food is done while sleeping. That means life itself depends on energy. What are the sources of energy? I hope my listeners are noting this. What are the sources of energy? The example includes the sun. The sun that we do not fancy. Sometimes we claim we are in a scorching sun. This sun is too much. So, examples of sources of energy is the sun. The food we take in is a source of energy. We are used to petrol and diesel in this region. Wow, God delivers us. So petrol and diesel, they are sources of energy. The coal is a source of energy. The wind is a source of energy. The water we take in is a source of energy. Natural gas is a source of energy. Batteries is a source of energy. Electricity is a source of energy. Nuclear materials are sources of energy. However, the sun is the greatest natural source of energy on earth. The sun is the greatest natural source of energy on earth. The plants use sunlight to prepare food. The plant uses sunlight to prepare food through the word photosynthesis. Plants use sunlight to prepare food through photosynthesis. The animals will eat plants. Human beings will eat animals, and plants. So you are good at eating vegetables. Okay, fine. That's good for us. That's to say, when you eat vegetables, help me put fish, help me put meat, help me put egg. Those are sources of energy too. So we human beings, we combine the plants and the animals. So therefore, almost every living thing depends directly or indirectly on the sun, because human being needs sun too, directly and indirectly. So we need to understand what are the forms of energy. Students at home, please pick up your pen. Like I say, write these important concepts. What are the forms of energy? Like we have discussed earlier, the sources of energy. This time, the forms of energy. You know, how the area, or let me say, how energy exists in many forms, in many looks, in many likes. So we can understand that we have several forms, one of which is the mechanical energy. Mechanical energy, kinetic energy, potential energy, electrical energy, chemical energy, heat energy, light energy, sound energy, nuclear energy. You can see that we've been able to mention 9 forms of energy. The first, like I say, is the mechanical energy. We have second form, which is the kinetic energy. Please write down as I say. Mechanical energy is the first form of energy. Kinetic energy, potential energy, electrical energy, chemical energy, heat energy, light energy, sound energy, nuclear energy. That's the number 9. So the first one, which is the mechanical energy, we need to understand how this form look. Mechanical energy is the energy possessed by a moving or a stationary object. Mechanical energy is the energy possessed by a moving or a stationary object. So this energy is composed of the kinetic energy and the potential energy. So invariably, kinetic energy and potential energy both are mechanical energy. So separately, let's discuss kinetic energy too. Kinetic energy is the energy possessed by the body because of its movement. The kinetic energy is the energy possessed by a body because of its movement, or because it is moving. Any moving object, any moving body has kinetic energy. Examples include the bicycle, a rolling football, the flying birds, the speeding train. The faster an object moves, the greater its the kinetic energy. The faster an object moves, the greater its kinetic energy. Well, kinetic energy, called Ke, has a formula that goes as half mv squared. Kinetic energy Ke is defined or has a formula half mv squared, where m is the mass, m is the mass, v is the velocity. Ke equals half mv squared. So we have an illustration that if you imagine two students riding bicycle, one rides slowly and the other rides faster. So definitely the one that is faster has more kinetic energy because of the fact that the speed at which it moves is faster. So the bigger the velocity, the bigger the kinetic energy. So you can see from the formula that Ke is half mv squared. So kinetic energy is directly proportional to square of the velocity. If velocity is 1, square of 1 is 1. If it increases to 2, the square of 2 is 4. If it increases to 3, the square of 3 is 9. If the velocity increases to 4, the square of 4 is 16. That's to say, the more the increase in the velocity, the greater or the bigger the kinetic energy. Now, we have the potential energy. Let's move faster. So I hope you are noting all this. Potential energy is the energy stored in an object because of its position. When you have a stationary object, it has its own potential energy due to its position relative to the height. Due to its position relative to the height. So, when we have water stored in a dam, overhead tanks, a stretched rubber band, a drum bowl, a book placed on a shelf, is positioned at a height, so it has its own energy. So potential energy, which is PE, equals mass times acceleration due to gravity because of the height. The acceleration due to free fall, G, mgh, PE, which is potential energy, equals mass times acceleration times height. So potential energy is mass times acceleration due to gravity free fall times height. So m is the mass, g is the acceleration due to gravity, h is the height. Illustration 2. If you raise your school bag on your head while it is on ground, it has little gravitational potential because it's already positioned. There is no relative height. There's no relative height in relationship to its mass, the mass body of the object. For it to have a potential energy, it must be accompanied by a height. Let's say height or distance. But majorly we refer to this as height. So let's move on to electrical energy. At electrical energy, we are all familiar with examples like the television. It's an audio and video studio too. I'm speaking with a loudspeaker, with a mic, loudspeakers with which you are hearing me too. These are electrical devices through which electrical energy is transferred. So the TV, the refrigerator, electric fan, air conditioner, computers are all electrical energy forms. Before I have a break, let me talk about chemical energy. Chemical energy is energy stored inside a substance. Energy stored in a substance. Energy stored in a substance. Substances like food, petrol, batteries, diesel, cooking gas, they have embedded energy. They have energy because they can be transformed. So because they can be transformed, you see that coal turns to fire. That's the energy in it. See, the heat and the light energy comes out of coal. So like that and like that. The heat energy too, from firewood, charcoal, electric iron, gas cooker, this is called the thermal energy. Heat energy is the same as thermal energy. Let's have a short break. Welcome back. So the next form of energy is the light energy. The light energy can manifest through sunlight, torchlight, electric bulb, candle, and plants too. They require light energy for photosynthesis. So that's the number 7 form of energy. From mechanical energy, kinetic energy, potential energy, heat energy, chemical energy, electrical energy. That's the 6th. So we now have the light energy, which can manifest through the sunlight, torchlight, electric bulbs, candles, and all that. So next, which is the 8th, is the sound energy. Sound energy is the one that I'm using. It's a typical example. It comes from my mouth and it's transformed, through the microphone. There are other processes before it comes to this loudspeaker, whereby you are hearing me. So that process is long. We may not be able to go into that now. But sound energy can manifest through drums, bells, guitar, loudspeakers, microphone. So nuclear energy, that's the next. This is the energy that comes from nucleus of atoms. From the nucleus of an atom comes a nuclear energy. So it is used in nuclear power stations to generate electricity. Also, now nuclear energy forms are being used in medical sciences for cures into terrible diseases like cancer. Let's move on to energy transformation. Before we go into energy transformation, we need to know there's a law that says that energy is not created nor destroyed. It only changes its form. That's the law of conservation of energy. The law of conservation of energy, like I say, says that energy can neither be destroyed nor created. It can only be converted from one form to another. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. That's the law of conservation of energy. Please note at home, please. The law of conservation of energy states that energy can neither be destroyed nor created. It can only be converted from one form to another. Example, when a football falls from a height, that's at a potential energy. So the potential energy gradually changes into kinetic energy, which is the total amount of energy that retains in the same. So that energy, due to free fall, converts to kinetic energy. So now we go back to the energy transformation. So from the law of conservation of energy that says that energy can neither be destroyed nor created, it can only be converted from one form to another. Now we need to understand what energy transformation is all about. Energy can change from one form to another. Energy do change from one form to another. Example, please note, students, that food that you eat this morning changes form from ordinary food to chemical energy, then to mechanical energy. Food changes form from chemical energy to mechanical energy. Then we have the battery. The battery in our automobiles and all that changes from its original or ordinary battery. It changes the form to chemical energy, and from that chemical energy it changes to electrical energy. The electric bulb changes to electrical energy, to light energy, to heat. Because when you put on your bulb, when you light on power at home, the bulb glows. When it glows, it is through the availability of electricity. That's electrical energy. But what do you see next? You see light. So that's the next transformation simultaneously. The next thing, after some time, you are feeling the heat that radiates from that light. So the generator that we are used to at home transforms to electrical energy. I'm sorry, from mechanical energy before it goes to electrical energy. The generator changes form to mechanical energy and the next to electrical energy. Now, the Baba now is the hydroelectric dam, the almighty Kanji, the Shiroro, and their likes. The Kaduna Dam. So, hydroelectric dams. So, the hydroelectric dams has power due to its potential, due to height rather. So, the hydroelectric plants, they have embedded energy due to potential energy. From that hydro dam, it changes to potential energy of the water, because it is hydroelectric. When you say hydro, it is water. Hydroelectric. So I mean, that power of water changes to electrical energy. That's what hydroelectric. So, but before it changes to electrical energy, it first changes to potential energy of the water. If you have ever been to a cliff or a free fall where you go to bushes to swim, if you have a free fall there, you can witness that the water that comes down from that cliff becomes hot or warm when it gets to the stream. So that is a change process. So from that height, it changes to potential energy. When it gets down, then it changes to mechanical energy. From mechanical energy, it changes to electrical energy. So now we can see that from the law of conservation of energy, that no energy is destroyed. No energy is created. It is already embedded. It changes from one form to another. That's by conversion from one form to another. Let's have a break. To business again, you're welcome back. So work, energy, and power is the lesson for today. So we have a review of what we've discussed earlier, that work is a transfer of energy by force through an object at a distance, over a distance. So work is defined as the product of the net force acting on a body and the distance moved in the direction of the force. Like we said, that work done is force and distance. W equals to FD, while the SI unit is in joules or Newton meter. Now, let me give you a real life example. Somebody, like a bricklayer, who's trying to break a wall, is given an assignment that we want to put a door to this wall. Please break this compartment and create a door. He's doing work. Notwithstanding, he's doing work. But there is another person who is assigned to move all items in the room out of the place so that they will not be affected by the rubbles from the breaking of the wall. Now, who does more work? Who does more work in physics? In the physics palace, it is the man that moves, that does his work by movement, that does greater work, because the force he applied is over a distance. While the other man too, having much expended energy, is doing his own work too. But because of the fact that the distance is shorter, is shortest, almost shortest, because the distance at which he is trying to penetrate or break the wall is in inches. 9 inches or thereabouts, you cannot compare it to a distance in meters, longer meters. So that man that carries objects over or moves objects from one place to another is doing greater work. So now we want to do mental arithmetic, that for practice sake, that how much work is done in lifting a 10-kilogram box. A 10-kilogram box is needed to be repositioned or moved off at a distance of 1.5 meters off the floor. We have an object of 10 kilograms off the floor and want you to move it. When you are moving an object at a height, it gives us potential energy notwithstanding, but the work done itself is the force times the distance. So that's to say, invariably, if we have 10 kilogram mass of an object moved over a distance of 1.5 meters, the force to be calculated will become F is equal to MA. If you remember, please try to remember that force is equals to mass times acceleration. So this time acceleration due to free fall. So we can cause that force a weight because it's at a height. So then let me confuse you. Use the word force. So work done here is force times distance. So this force now is 10 times acceleration due to gravity, which is 9.8 meters per second squared, times the distance, which is 1.5 meters. So 10 times 9.8, or very let's assume that acceleration due to gravity is 10. Acceleration due to gravity is 10. The mass body is 10. 10 times 10 is 100 times 1.5. So 100 times 1.5 gives us 150. So give us 150 joules or Newton meter. So work, only the component of the applied force in the direction of the motion is applicable to us. Like another typical example is when you see a lawnmower. Somebody is trying to cut grass using a lawnmower that's been driven by the cutter or the gardener. The gardener is trying to use a lawnmower to clean this horticultural environment. So you can see that the lawnmower is at an inclination to he has a hand on an object, on the rail that is attached to the lawnmower, and you can see it is beveled somehow. That bevel is an inclination. So you have to understand that we said earlier that there must be a resolution, which is the component, the component of the force in the line of the force. That is in the direction of the force, which is, it has to be horizontal. So with that horizontal, like I said earlier, it has to be F cos theta times distance. So you can see that we calculate work at a distance, at a height applicable. This one at an inclination. So we resolve getting the component to the parallel line. It gives us F cos theta. So F cos theta. So we have some mental activity here. Please at home note that I want you to calculate for me before you call in. That we have force of 150 Newton. We have a distance of 25. What is the work done? what is the work done? I have a force of 650 Newton at a distance of 320 meters. What is the work done? Please do that. So before we round up, power is the last thing, which is the rate at which work is done. Power is the rate at which work is done. And the SI unit is also in joules or watts. Power is the rate at which work is done. And the SI unit is in watts. Now, you can see that when you are climbing a stairs, somebody is moving faster and somebody is moving at his own pace. So which one of them is expending a greater power? We need to understand this. So like you said earlier, that energy is in several forms. The kinetic energy. That kinetic energy is the energy due to motion, right? It should be noted. For examination purpose, they may ask you, for examination sake, that kinetic energy is a scalar or vector quantity. So, is kinetic energy a scalar or vector quantity? So, kinetic energy is a scalar quantity. Please note that kinetic energy is a scalar quantity. Kinetic energy, I say again, is a scalar quantity. Let's have a break and expect our callers. Open 070-4700-3969. Studio line is 070-4700-3969. 070-4700-2969. 070-4700-2969. Hello, caller. Hello. 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 Who's there? What's the name and where are you calling from? Hello. Hello. Are you there? Hello. Okay. We lost that call. Please call back.
Hello.
Hello. What is the name?
Hello.
Hello. Good morning. What's your name?
My name is Dominino.
Dominino what?
Adeniyi.
Okay, Adeniyi. What's the name of your school?
Sir.
What is the name of your school?
Sir, what did you say, sir?
Your school. What's the name of your school?
Alayande Oladupe Alayande School.
Oh, Alayande School. Okay, what class are you, sir?
SS2 going to SS3, sir.
Oh, great. Give me the law of conservation of energy.
Yes, sir.
Define law of conservation of energy.
Energy can neither be destroyed nor created. It can only be converted from one form to another.
Very good. Oh, yeah. Can you now give me the forms of energy that you know?
We have mechanical energy.
Okay.
Under mechanical energy, we have kinetic and potential energy.
Great.
And then we have electrical energy.
Good.
We have chemical energy.
Good.
We have heat or thermal energy. We have
good.
light energy, sound energy, and nuclear energy.
In fact, you moved my body this morning. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yeah, move away from your
Good morning.
move away from your radio. Move away from your radio object, please. Hello? Please move away. Okay. Yeah? Yes. Yeah. What's the name?
My name is Blessing Wawu.
Okay, Blessing Wawu. Okay. So, can you read for me give me the forms of energy, you know?
Mechanical energy.
Okay.
Mechanical energy.
Okay.
Electrical energy.
Okay.
Light energy.
Okay.
Sound energy. Chemical energy.
Good.
Heat energy.
Good.
Nuclear energy.
Good.
Kinetic energy. And
Good.
potential.
Beautiful.
Energy.
Beautiful. So
Energy.
now energy transformation. How does your the food changes from one energy to another? Tell us how food changes, the transformation that takes place in food. How does
nuclear energy?
No. The transformation that takes place in food that you eat. When food is eaten, what does it transform to? When you eat food, what does the food transform to? Which energy does it transform to?
Wait. No, nuclear energy.
No. Your food, like, let me give you an example now. Food that you eat transforms to chemical energy and mechanical energy. What does battery transform to? What does battery transform to? You don't understand? Okay.
No.
What does electric bulb transform to? What does an electric bulb transform to?
Light.
Light and what?
Light energy.
Yes. Continue. Light energy and what?
Heat energy.
That's good. Heat energy. Basically it transforms to electrical energy before it transforms to light energy and heat energy. Before we round up today's program, we thank you, callers. Dear students, please know that physics is all around us. Every switch you press, every step you take, every meal you eat, every device we use demonstrates the principle of work, energy, and power. So we need to keep observing our environment and keep asking questions through learning. So thank you for listening to the School on Here program, School on Here Physics program on Oxygen FM 96.9. Continue to study diligently. Remain curious. Remain focused. Remember that education is the greatest source of personal power. Until the next lesson, stay safe, keep learning, and keep shining.